Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us at today's press conference. My name is Ken Miyagishima, Mayor of the City of Las Cruces. I'd like to also introduce some of my colleagues that are here with us today. A couple of them could not be with us. I know Mayor Perea from Sunland Park just texted me. He's still in Santa Fe. I see the Commission Chairman, Lynn Ellens, is coming in. I have here to my left Commissioner Shannon Reynolds, Commissioner Manny Sanchez, Mayor Nora Barasa, Mayor of City of Mesilla, Town of Mesilla, Mayor Pro Tem Cassandra Gandara, and Councilor Gabe VASQUEZ. So thank you for joining with me. I have to tell you, every 10 years, the United States has what they call a census count. And this is really important that regardless of race, language, or immigration status, we need to know exactly how many people are living here in the United States. This data determines how the $675 billion that Congress allocates is going to be used, anywhere from Medicare, Medicaid, public safety, roads, housing, school lunches, and such. One thing that's really historic, this is the first time that primarily is going to be done online. Now, that doesn't mean that there could be a few people going knocking on doors, but primarily online. So just to let you know how important it is, if someone isn't counted, it could cost our community $3,745 per person over the next 10 years. That's a lot of money. If 30% was to be undercounted, our community could lose close to $900 million. That's why we're joining forces with our colleagues, our local governments, to let everyone know how important this is, let them know that it's safe, it's easy, and it's critical that you be counted. By answering the census, our residents become superheroes, protecting the future of our community and our kids. Inspired by the superhero theme, Be Counted, or Tu Cuentas in Spanish, this outreach campaign to encourage our residents to participate is so crucial, so important. That's why earlier, if you saw the group of children here, that's probably the most undercounted group, and that's our kids. And they're dressed, I don't know if you noticed them, dressed in capes and masks, and they rely on us to be their heroes. And so I appreciate them dressed up the way they are and doing what they do. Before we get to Mayor Pro Tem Cassandra Gandara, Commissioner Manny Sanchez, who's on our State Complete Counts Committee, would like to say a couple words. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mayor. What we're going to be kicking off here is an effort to make sure that we educate our local communities to understand how important the census that's coming up is. This is our opportunity to shape the way our communities are funded over the next 10 years. And to make it even tougher for us is that New Mexico in general is what we call a hard to count state. Among all of our peers, all the other states, New Mexico has traditionally been one of the hardest states to count every single person. And from a state level, we've been discussing on the Complete Count Committee how important that is. And a 1% undercount in the state equals us losing about $780 million over the next 10 years. So a little over more than $750 million that we'd be losing by just a 1% undercount. So it's absolutely important that our public and our communities understand it is important to respond to make sure that you are counted. So over the next several weeks, what we're going to start to be able to see is you're going to see starting to see messages on buses, at the movie theaters, on our radio stations, television stations as well. We're going to try to make sure that we get out, we educate, and make sure that we shape our community to make sure we get funding for our roads, for medical services, for Section 8 housing, everything that is absolutely important for our communities. So please keep an eye out. look out as well. iCountNM.gov is one of the sites that you can go to. But we will make sure as well as leaders of our community that with the collaborative effort we have with the City of Las Cruces, Sunland Park, Anthony, the Village of Hatch, and the Town of Mesilla, that we are getting out and making sure that everyone is counted. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for your service on the State Complete Counts Committee. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Cassandra Gondara, who's going to have a couple of things to say. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm really happy to be here today. Be Counted focuses on reaching traditionally undercounted groups inside our city limits. This would include children, our veterans, our elderly, immigrants, individuals with high rates of instability as it relates to housing, residents with disabilities, those with limited access to internet, and those who may just be afraid to be counted. Leading the effort, I'm happy to report, is our Community Engagement Office. And again, as you've heard earlier, there will be both in English and in Spanish. The city is producing all sorts of bilingual flyers and posters, other graphic material to businesses and community groups and nonprofits. The campaign includes a heavy social media component with paid advertisement, testimonials, and videos, as Commissioner Sanchez indicated just now. And the video content will be on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So we are encouraging every resident to use the hashtag Las Cruces Counts and hashtag Doniana Counts, and encouraging you to post your pictures on these particular means. The city will host a Census Days at the Thomas Brannigan Memorial Library and its branches, to include senior centers, parks, and recreational facilities, and even once per month at our farmers market. At these events, staff and volunteers will be helping residents to answer the census and providing information, and a big event will be occurring on Census Day, April 1st. To help offset the cost, Thomas Brannigan Memorial Library received a special grant from the National Library Association. And to talk more about this, Margaret Neal, our library administrator, will be able to talk to us. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. The library was one of 59 libraries in the country that was awarded an ALA Library Census Equity Grant because we were identified, as I said earlier, New Mexico is a hard-to-count state. So we received $2,000 to buy laptops and Wi-Fi hotspots so that we can go around the city and help people take the census online. And we're also working with the Volunteer Network Center to have people trained in the census, how it works, so we can answer questions, both in English and in Spanish. And we will be working throughout the community to make sure that everyone has the ability to come in, take the census online, or just find out more about it. Libraries are all about providing access, and that's what we're going to be doing to help out. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask if, Craig is here. So you may have there may be some residents who are concerned about the safety of their information, or perhaps they may want a job as a census taker. And so with us here today is the Area Census Office Manager, Mr. Craig Buckingham. Craig?
Before I get started, I'd just like to thank everybody, for the mayor and the city of Las Cruces for inviting us here today. And I would also like to thank the local New Mexico I Can Count committee for all their help. Every little bit of help we get makes our job easier, and it helps us accomplish our goals here in Doñana County, which is to count everyone, count them once, and count them in the right place. So as far as it goes with jobs and recruiting for our efforts, New Mexico is looking for 23,000 applicants throughout the entire state. Jobs will consist of census takers, supervisors, recruiting assistants, and office staff. Positions based throughout the state, and of course here locally in Doña Ana County, can earn up to $16 to $17.50 an hour, which we hope encourages people to come out and work with us and help us with our community efforts. You can apply online at the 2020 census.gov/jobs website to apply for those jobs. Like the mayor was saying earlier, this is one of the first census where we've had an online presence like we do, and this includes our application process. By going online and applying with that process, it helps us limit the paper that we use, so it cuts the paper use down, and it also makes it more efficient for not only the census, but the applicants as well. As far as our security is concerned, this is taken very serious. It is taken so serious that everybody that works for the census, they are sworn in under oath and are subject to either time in jail or a $250,000 fine. If they violate that oath. And I can guarantee you I have not met one person that wants to do that works for us. But also, when it comes to our cyber program, it meets the latest requirements that we have in cybersecurity with the higher standards protecting your information. We take this very seriously. Every census employee, like I said, does take this oath is a lifetime oath, and we cannot violate that oath in our entire lifetime. So that's how serious that we take it. Everybody that comes in, like I said, is sworn into it, and they sign the paper stating the same. Any information that we receive from other agencies is also protected. This information is a one-way street. They give it to us, we do not give it back. Okay, that's how serious, again, that we take our cyber and confidentiality with everybody involved in the census, including the people we speak with. They are also given a confidentiality notice, both in English and in Spanish, explaining this so the people we talk to at the door understand this. And so hopefully everybody knows that we're here. We're serious about the cyber security and their confidentiality, as well as getting people employed. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Okay, so now to join us and kind of tell you a little bit more about the particulars on how to answer the census is City Councilor Gabe Vasquez.
Thank you, Mayor. Gracias. My name is Gabriel Vasquez, Gabe Vasquez, City Councilor for District 3. Soy el concejal del Distrito 3 aquí en la ciudad de Las Cruces. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about how easy it is to take the census. Our technology has changed, our modes of outreach have changed, and we're using this to our advantage to make sure that everybody is counted for all the reasons that my colleagues at the county have mentioned, as well as my colleagues here at the city. So the U.S. Census takes around 10 minutes to respond. That's the same that it takes you to drink a cup of coffee. El censo se toma 10 minutos para responder, el mismo tiempo que usted puede usar para tomarse un cafecito, comerse un pan dulce en la mañana. 10 minutos de su tiempo es todo lo que se toca. Starting on March 12th, households will begin receiving an invitation letter from the Census Bureau with detailed information on how to respond to the 2020 census and a unique ID number. Empezando el marzo 12, si en su domicilio va a recibir una tarjeta, una carta del censo que va a tener instrucciones de cómo participar en este proceso. By April 1st, all households should have received this letter. En su domicilio, por la fecha de abril 1, usted debe de recibir una tarjeta del Departamento del Censo. You will have 3 options for responding. Online, using a computer or your smartphone, the census will be available in 13 languages, including English and in Spanish. Va a tener 3 opciones para participar usted en el censo y con su familia. La primera es a través del Internet. Puede usar usted su computadora o puede usar su teléfono que tiene activado con data para participar, incluyendo en español. Como dije, también por teléfono, by phone, you can call a toll-free number that will be included on your invitation, and you'll be able to answer it in 13 languages as well. Si usted no tiene acceso al Internet por su teléfono o por la computadora, usted también puede hablar a un número gratuito donde puede participar a través de un operador automático. Y también por correo. You can also participate by mail. Filling out a hard paper questionnaire, however, The questionnaire will only be available in English and Spanish. Para esos de nosotros en nuestras casas que no tenemos o no usamos tanto nuestros teléfonos o nuestra computadora, también pueden tener la opción de participar por correo. Entonces, esta información usted lo puede mandar aquí a través del correo, pero nomás va a estar dispuesto en inglés y español. The U.S. Census Bureau encourage everyone to respond online if possible because your answers will be encrypted. El Buró del Censo prefiere que usted haga sus respuestas en línea. Entonces, a través de su teléfono o de su computadora es la manera más segura y más rápida para proveer la información que están requiriendo el censo. On May 13th, the Census Bureau will begin visiting the households that have not responded. Si usted no ha respondido para la fecha de mayo 13, van a venir representantes del censo a platicar con usted para asegurar que usted pueda seguir participando en este proceso. The last day for households to self-report is July 31st. Tenemos una meta de julio 31 para tener todas las respuestas de nuestras comunidades. Entonces, le estamos pidiendo a sus familias, a sus primos, a sus tías, a sus mamás, a sus amigos que les pidan que por favor para julio 31 ya estén participado en el censo. With that, I want to thank you again, and I'll turn this back to the mayor. Gracias.
Gracias, Councilor Vasquez. Habla español muy bueno. So before we conclude the press conference, I'm going to turn it open in case there's any questions of either of us. I'd like to also point out Mayor Diana Trujillo from the town of Anthony is here joining us here today. Thank you. And I think I mentioned Mr. Chairman Lynn Ellens. Thank you for joining us here as well. Any questions anybody has? So the question is, what areas are we going to, I guess, perhaps focus on? Well, as mentioned earlier, it's going to be done for the first time historically, primarily online. We recognize that the East Mesa of Las Cruces is really the fastest growing area, but it's important, and that's why I'm really happy to see my colleagues from the county, from the town of Anthony, town of Mesilla, and as I mentioned, the mayor of Sunland Park. And I don't know what happened to Andy from Hatch, but he was supposed to be here, but maybe he took the wrong turn. But we recognize that this is really important. We have residents that may not have access to computers, but we want them to know, you know what, if we need to, we'll contact the offices, we'll do our best to help you be counted. It's so crucial. The monies that we use to help our communities relies on them, and they need to be heroes for our children, for the future of our community, and focus on making sure they're counted.
How did the city land on that $3,700 figure per person? I just wanted to know how that was calculated for every person who's not counted.
Yeah, when you take into effect, Congress allocates it based on the population. You take what our population is approximately, and that's kind of how they will figure out those numbers.
And then regarding the undercount of 30%, you use 30% as an example. I'm just wondering why not 1% or 5 or 10, why straight to 30? Because
it sounds like it's more significant. I mean, we want them to know, if we wanted to use 50, it is even more. But, basically the bottom line is we're trying to explain this is very important. Please be counted. We really need you to do this because this is how we operate our communities. And this money, this is how we get it. This is how Congress allocates it. And it's not fair that other communities, whether they're per capita have more computers access, that they get more money than us. We have to stand and be counted and have the availability for our residents to be counted.
I haven't taken a look at the press materials yet, but is there a figure in there that includes the total count for the city or the county in 2010?
You mean what we think it's going to be?
Well, no, the actual 2010 data. I'm just wondering what the.
Oh, it's 97,000 and change.
But but the percentage of people who were counted, I'm just
Oh,
wondering what.
that I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Although we have to say, based on the utility hookups, we have a pretty good idea. We're not too far off from that. So it was a pretty accurate count.
Good morning, Mayor, city leaders, other government leaders. I wanted to ask what specifically the city and other county governments were doing to ensure Hispanic residents that the citizenship question is not going to be on the census. I know that that was something that some organizations have said that just because of the proposal could have chilled some residents. So is there any
I know
specific
Councilor
plan?
Vasquez and I recorded some commercials, and he did one in Spanish. Councilor, you want to expand on this?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Michael, for the question. Yes, absolutely. Residents throughout Doña Ana County should feel absolutely safe in providing their information, regardless of their legal status. As the Mayor mentioned, as the Commissioner Sanchez mentioned, regardless of your citizenship status, the services that we provide are dependent on everybody being counted. So yes, the information included in the census is completely safe, will not be used for or against any other political purposes or purposes of immigration. And so we want everybody to be comfortable with that. Y lo puedo decir también en español que si usted reporta al censo a las personas que están viviendo en su hogar, esa información no va a ser usada para cualquier otra cosa, sino que solamente para alocar a los fondos que llegan a nuestras comunidades, para nuestras escuelas, nuestros hospitales, nuestras carreteras. Como dijo también el señor Buckingham, el comisionado Sánchez, esa información es completamente seguro y la gente debe tener la confianza de abrir la puerta, de llenar la forma en línea o hablar o responder por correo. Thank you, Michael. We have recorded, with the help of our complete census committee here with the county, with Carla's help and others, including at the state as well, outreach materials in Spanish that deliver that message to our communities, and that is in Spanish and English. So across that medium, we hope that we're able to reach as much of our population to make them feel safe, to make them feel secure, and to make sure that we're adequately counted. Thank you, Michael.
I have a question. Hi, I'm Cristal. He also asked about if there's going to be a question on there, asking for the residents' maybe citizenship or legal status. Is there going to be a question like that, or can they omit that question?
I don't believe so, Commissioner. No, that is not going to be on there.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, sure, Craig.
In regards to that question, that question is not on the list of questions that are represented. And the census mission, go back to what I said earlier, we are to count everyone, we are to count them once, and we're to count them in the right place. Okay?
Okay, if there's nothing further, we appreciate everyone's attendance and recognizing, again, how important this is. So if I leave you one message, please be counted. Thank you.